Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 2012 EGU Award ceremony. It is our great pleasure to honor our 2012 medalists and awardees. Please welcome the EGU President, Don Dingwell.
Good evening. Here we are again. It's a year later, and we have a whole year's more celebration tonight. We have a remarkable list of awardees from the divisions and from the union. We have a tremendous range of disciplines. We have a tremendous range of opinions and experiences and convictions. And all of it comes together tonight in this house, as I like to call it, which is the EGU. When we celebrate tonight, all of the people who will come on stage are exceptional individuals. What we're really celebrating is the science that they created. And the process of science creation is probably one of the more poorly understood things. I think it's fully misunderstood by politics. So when they're up here tonight, remember that they're standing for a body of work, which is really what we're applauding. And remember that it's essential that exceptional individuals are allowed to independently and freely pursue their research in order to bring the research forward. Without exceptional individuals in the science funding policies of Europe, we're going to run into trouble. And I think, at least that's the common wisdom now at the European Research Council, Europe has arrived at the point where it doesn't set as the highest priority political goals of integration and so on. It sets as the highest priority now the most prestigious program that it has, the ERC, the excellence of the individual scientist and the science that they propose. So join me now as the next step in welcoming our newly elected President-elect, Vice President, Günter Blöschel.
Please welcome the EGU Vice President, Günter Blöschel.
Good afternoon. I would like to welcome you here in my new capacity as the President-elect of EGU. I'm really excited to put my shoulders to the wheel and making EGU an even greater society than what it is today. In today's award ceremony, we are honoring excellence and leadership. And excellence and leadership are the defining characteristics of EGU. Science is a global enterprise today, and EGU, I think, is one of the poles of making and maintaining the excellence and quality of science, geoscience at the global scale. I'm therefore delighted to welcome all the medalists who come from a wide range of nationalities and celebrate and honor with you today the excellence in the geosciences. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the 2012 Division Outstanding Young Scientists Awardees on stage. Ladies and gentlemen, please applaud the 2012 Division Outstanding Young Scientists Didier M. Roche, Climate Past, Present and Future, Gail Durand, Cyrospheric Sciences, Suzanne Hanks, Energy, Resources and the Environment, Xavier Kolilu-Guidesi, Richard Four-Katz, Geodynamics, Verle Vanacker, Geomorphology, Giuliano Di Baldassar, Hydrological Sciences, Claudia Cherubini, Non-Linear Processes in Geosciences, Claudia Zacconi, Soil System Sciences, Alejandro Luque, Solar Terrestrial Sciences, Andre R. Niemeyer, Tectonics and Structural Geology. Ladies and gentlemen, we are now calling the 2012 Division Medalists on stage. Ladies and gentlemen, please applaud the 2012 Division Medalists. Adrian J. Simmons, Wilhelm Wdziekness Medal, Jean-Pierre Gattuso, Vladimir Ivanovich Vernadsky Medal, Wolfgang H. Berger, Milutin Milankovic Medal, Michael E. Mann, Hans Oeschke Medal, Ian R. Joachim, Louis Agassiz Medal, James R. Rice, Louis Neal Medal, Frank J. Lowe's, Petrus Peregrinus Medal, Peter A. Fox, Ian McHarg Medal, Ke Kwan Shum, Venig Minus Medal, Yannick Ricard, Augustus Love Medal, Gregory E. Tucker, Ralph Alga Bagnold Medal, William F. McDonough, Robert Wilhelm Bunsen Medal, Kurt Roth, John Dalton Medal, Tissa H. Ilanga Sekari, Henry Darcy Medal, Timothy J. Sullivan, Plinius Medal, Harry L. Swinney, Louis Fry Richardson Medal, Pierre-Yves Letran, Fridtjof Nansen Medal, Hans Rickman, David Bates Medal, Michel Campillo, Benno Gutenberg Medal, Emiliano Muti, Jean-Baptiste Lamarck Medal, José Tarrant, Philippe Dacafour Medal, Michael Lockwood, Julius Bartels Medal, Jacques Malavier, Stephen Muller Medal. Ladies and gentlemen, we are now calling the 2012 Union Service Awardee on stage together with his citationist. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Union Service Awardee Bruce D. Malamud with citationist Tuija Pulkkinen. Ladies and gentlemen, Tuija Pulkkinen is kindly delivering the citation for Bruce D. Malamud.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's a great pleasure as the past president of the union to provide the citation for the Union Service Award for Bruce Malamud. In 1 minute, it's impossible to cite all the things that Bruce has done for this union, so I'll focus on just 2 things. His role as the president of the Natural Hazards Division and his role as the program committee chair. Natural hazards is now one of our largest, if not the largest, division of the union, and it's greatly to the a follow-up of what Bruce has done. He's brought in new groups. He's brought in teachers, students, journalists. He's brought in people from the industry. He's established short courses and a variety of ways, new ways of presenting our science, not only to other scientists, but also to the community at large. As the program committee chair, Bruce was just exceptional. Much of the niceties that you see around when you walk around the meeting, the seating, the wireless, the screens, the social media things, were things that Bruce really initiated. He was ruthless in always coming up with new ideas, pushing them through in rapid time schedule, requiring money and efforts from everyone, but the outcome, I think, is just splendid. And I especially value the focus that he has set on young scientists, bringing in students, giving them visibility at the meeting, and creating opportunities for the juniors to meet their senior colleagues. Moreover, Bruce has been an invaluable member in the EGU Council with very high morale, always with very high standards, and always ready and willing to help out others. So I'm pleased to read the citation. The 2012 Union Service Award is awarded to Bruce D. Malamud in recognition of his innovative and organized service for the union as chair of the program committee and his exceptional dedication as president of the Division on Natural Hazards.
Ladies and gentlemen, Bruce D. Malamud is presented the EGU Union Service Award 2012.
Lower this a bit. Tuija's a bit taller than me. Thank you very much, Tuija, for those very kind words. And it's been a genuine pleasure working with you over these past years, and it's meant quite a bit to me. I'm very greatly honored to have been awarded this. I started off at EGU through the introduction of my PhD supervisor, Don Turcotte, and he encouraged me to be both an author and a convener on sessions in nonlinear processes. Then Fausto Guzzetti, who was president of the Natural Hazard Division, took me sort of under his wing and mentored me as a scientific secretary in the Natural Hazard Division. And basically through his very stellar organizational skills, I learned the skills that I would need later to take over the very large Natural Hazard Division. During this time, I met Arne Richter, and I hope just a little bit I've been able to convey some of his passion and enthusiasm for communication of science as program chair, and it's something that I really learned a lot from Arne from. I've really enjoyed a lot acting as program chair. There's many people that have helped me, and I just wanted to highlight a few others. Probably the foremost amongst them is Martin Rasmussen and his team at Copernicus, who have, in very innovative ways, put up with many of my ideas and requests for changing the program, and I've been very appreciative of that. Tuija Pulkkinen and Gerald Gansen provided very different but excellent examples of leadership as president, and that was very, very helpful. while I was working with them. And Niels Hovius, as the chair of the outreach and also as president of geomorphology, was always level-headed and able to take on things. Now, there was also a lot of authors, a lot of conveners, the program committee, the council, who often had very strong opinions on things. And so I enjoyed very much working with them and trying to make the different groups work. There was so much that I really enjoyed working with here. And it gave me a chance to put some of my pet projects into place as regards to young scientists, women in the geoscientists, and also the role of posters here at EGU and bringing up their profile. So I've really enjoyed this chance for growth. It's meant quite a bit for me in my own personal career and my own personal makeup. And I look forward to working with EGU for the future. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are now awarding the Arne Richter Outstanding Young Scientists 2012. For this ceremony, please welcome on the floor Arne Richter, to whom this award is dedicated to recognize an entire life of tireless dedication to geosciences in Europe. Ladies and gentlemen, we are now calling the 2012 Arne Richter Awardees for Outstanding Young Scientists on stage, together with their citationists. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Arne Richter 2012 Awardees, Encarnacion Ruiz Agudo with citationist Andrew Putnis, Stephanie Henson with citationist Richard Sanders, Ekaterini Radiotti with citationist Norbert Krupp and Jean-Claude Gerard, and Lieven Clarice with citationists Cathy Clerbaud and Pierre Coher. Ladies and gentlemen, Andrew Putnis is kindly delivering the citation for Encarnacion Ruiz Agudo.
Thank you very much. The research of Encarnacion Ruiz Agudo focuses on crystal growth in multi-component aqueous solutions. This work has contributed greatly to our understanding of the structure of mineral surfaces, fluid-mineral interaction, how organic and inorganic additives can modify the water structure, with consequent effects on crystal growth rates and minor element incorporation. Using multiple analytical techniques, she addresses unresolved fundamental problems, such as mechanisms of incorporation of minor elements used as environmental proxies, as well as practical applications to the prevention of salt crystallization damage. Following undergraduate studies in chemical engineering, she did a PhD in the field of crystallography and mineralogy at the University of Granada, followed by a Marie Curie postdoc at the University of Münster. Encarni currently holds the prestigious Ramon y Cajal Research Fellowship at the University of Granada.
Ladies and gentlemen, Encarnacion Ruiz Agudo is presented the EGU Arne Richter Outstanding Young Scientist Award 2012.
Good afternoon. I would like to start my speech expressing my gratitude to all the organizers and especially to Nick Arndt, as well as my sincere congratulations to the rest of the awardees. This event allows me to publicly thank the support of all the people that have made it possible to be receiving this award today. In particular, I would like to make a special mention to the Professor Dr. Andrew Putnis and Christine Putnis from the University of Münster in Germany. For me, they are role models at work for their brilliance, tenacity, and scientific inquiry. And above all, they are excellent persons. I would like to thank also to Professor Dr. Carlos Rodriguez Navarro, who gave me the opportunity to to initiate in research. I also thank my family, my husband, my parents, and my sister for the understanding, love, and support they show me every day. I would also like to thank all the public institutions that have supported my research, such as the University of Münster and the University of Granada, and the research group Mineralogy and Geochemistry of the Sedimentary and Metamorphic Environments at the University of Granada. Finally, I would like to say that I feel truly honored for being recognized with this award for the significance and relevance, particularly in a difficult time for research in Spain. I'm part of the group of young researchers from this country, particularly from the University of Granada, to which I would like to pay a special tribute with this word. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, Richard Sanders is kindly delivering the citation for Stephanie Henson.
So, ladies and gentlemen, it's a very great pleasure for me to be here today delivering this citation. Stephanie has made very, very important contributions to the science that we do in Southampton, and more importantly to the science that we do globally regarding how ocean biogeochemistry functions and works. She's currently holding a NERC fellowship in our department, and prior to that did postgraduate work in Princeton University before returning a couple of years ago. And she's brought really, really new skills to our department, elucidating how ocean biogeochemistry functions and how the cycles of the major elements are driven by plankton in the upper ocean using satellite projects. She sets herself big, big challenges and focuses on the big problems in our science. How big is the global biogeochemical cycle of carbon, for example? And she's made really profound contributions in addition to distinguishing between natural inherent variability in biological populations and those driven by global change, perhaps caused by anthropogenic forcing. She's not only worked on fundamental problems herself, she's now mentoring students through the undergraduate and postgraduate program in our institution, and we can see already that these students are really grasping enthusiasm for the science as a result of Stephanie's efforts. So I'll just conclude by saying that it really is an immense pleasure to be here to deliver this citation, and that I thank very much Stephanie for the effort that she's making, not only for our department, but also for our science worldwide.
Ladies and gentlemen, Stephanie Henson is presented the EGU Arita Outstanding Young Scientist Award 2012.
Thank you, EGU, for this honour. These awards are particularly valuable as they provide young scientists who are still stretching their wings, like me, with the confidence needed to make a career in what can be a tough environment. It's also important, I think, to recognise the particular role that young scientists play in driving forward exciting science. This award comes from the Biogeosciences division of EGU, although I consider myself mostly an oceanographer. But I think this makes an important point that many grand challenges, including understanding the role of climate change in altering the cycling of carbon, my own field, require an interdisciplinary approach. And I think that we also need to take a big picture perspective by using whatever data we can get our hands on, whether that be in situ or satellite data or through modelling studies. The sort of multidisciplinary work that I do requires the help, inspiration, and advice of a network of people, and not just their help and advice, but also the hard work that they put in, either out at sea, in the lab, or piling through model code. And I couldn't do the kind of work I do without an army of collaborators. but I want to mention a few mentors who have been particularly influential for me. Ian Robinson, Andy Thomas, Jorge Sarmiento, and Richard Sanders. There are many, many more people I could thank, but we'd be here all night. So I'll just finish by saying a special thank you to my family and Tim for their never-failing support. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Norbert Krupp and Jean-Claude Gérard are kindly delivering the citation for Cassini Radiotti.
Good afternoon. It's a great pleasure for me, also on behalf of Jean-Claude Gérard, to introduce Cassini Radiotti to you. Cassini Radiotti first analyzed particle data in the Galileo project during her PhD at the Max Planck Institute for Solar System Research in Germany, where she could show that new results on the energetic particle composition of the Jovian magnetosphere plays a major role in understanding overall global processes in that large environment. Following her thesis, she made some remarkable contributions in the field of auroral dynamics at Jupiter and Saturn by combining now remote sensing data from the Hubble Space Telescope and from Cassini and in situ magnetospheric data from the spacecraft Galileo and Cassini. So she moved on from Germany to Belgium, where she is still currently doing her research. For example, just two major highlights, scientific highlights she is working on, where she got the prize for. For example, she proposed that energetic particle injections in the magnetosphere of Saturn create transient aurora observed with Hubble Space Telescope. She also showed that the plasma flow produced by consecutive reconnection events in the flanks of Saturn's magnetopores creates auroral emissions at the end of the ionospheric footprint of the newly opened magnetic flux field lines. In addition, she demonstrated that solar wind-driven magnetospheric convection accounts for a persistent discontinuity observed in the Jovian main auroral oval close to the magnetic noon, and electron scattering by Whistler waves in the Jovian magnetosphere leads to electron precipitation in the ionosphere. This sounds very interesting, and it is a major research in our field of planetary magnetospheres. And therefore, for those achievements, we are delighted to honor Cassini Radiotti with this year's EGU Arne Richter Award for Outstanding Young Scientists. Congratulations.
Ladies and gentlemen, Cassini Radiotti is presented the EGU Arne Richter Outstanding Young Scientist Award 2012.
Thank you very much. It's a great pleasure and honor to receive the Arne Richter Award. In 1 minute, 1 minute is too short to thank all the people I would like to, but there are definitely two people that I would like especially to thank, two people that were very important in my career, and this is Norbert Krupp. Thank you very much, Norbert. And Jean-Claude Gérard. Thank you very much, Jean-Claude. I would also like to acknowledge my colleagues in the University of Liège in Belgium for the fruitful discussions and productive collaborations. And a great, great thanks to my family. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, Cathy Clairbeau and Pierre Coher are kindly delivering the citation for Lieven Clarice.
Hello, everybody. So Lieven is a bright scientist that we are lucky to have in our team at the Free University of Brussels. So let me go back a few years ago. At that time, we were busy with a lot of students, and our field of research is trying to analyze the atmospheric change using satellite data. And we had this postdoc grant, and so we wanted to find someone that could be fluent enough in English so that he could at least write his own publication. So we got some CV, and we selected the one of Leven. And he was working at the York University, but he was working in a totally different field. He was doing some quantum information theory or something like that. And so we said, okay, if the guy is bright, he will adjust and adapt. And here we are, 5 years later. He became a leading scientist in our field of research. He has more than 40 publications, the half of it as a first author. He still has great ideas. And he found he did major findings in our research field, including, for example, demonstrating that the ammonia hotspot could be measured from space. Ammonia is a very difficult molecule to measure from space. It's a pollutant. It's also leading to the formation of aerosol. And last but not least, he also was a major contributor to the system we put to provide alerts to the aviation so that the aircraft could not be damaged by crossing the Plumol volcano. And these were only 2 of his major findings, but there are 2 others. So in summary, we are very proud of you, Leven, and you fully deserve this medal.
Ladies and gentlemen, Leven Clarice is presented the EGU Arita Outstanding Young Scientist Award 2012.
Okay, so thank you very much for the award. I am, extremely happy and grateful to be receiving it. So I would like to thank all the people who have supported my nomination. I would like to thank Cathy and Pierre for nominating me. Foremost, I would like to thank all the people behind the EASI mission, because my research would not have been possible without the great instrument we are working with. And so all these people are anonymous, but it's really thanks to them that I was able to do what I have done. And to conclude, I just would like to say that this is the 3rd time I have joined the EGU meeting here in Vienna, and I think it's really the best conference in the world. And I thoroughly enjoy it every year, and the location is so nice. So I would also like to thank the organizers, and I think it's a job well done, and so also thank you to them. It's okay. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are now presenting the 2012 Union Medals. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the 2012 Union Medalists Vincent Courtillon with citationist Jean-Pierre Vallée, Michael Kiel with citationists Denis Didier Rossard, Henk A. Jurista and Bernard Barnier, and Robin T. Clark with citationist Cynthia Bertacci-Uvo. With great sadness, we announce that Angioletta Corradini, who was awarded the Jean-Dominique Cassini Medal and EGU honorary membership, passed away on September the 5th, 2011. With sad spirit, but with unforgettable memory of Angioletta Corradini's scientific contributions and support to the EGU, we are today posthumously presenting the Cassini Medal to her. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome on floor Angioletti's brother, Marcello Corradini, with citationists Manuel Grande and Athena Kustenis. Ladies and gentlemen, Jean-Pierre Vallée is kindly delivering the citation for Vincent Cortilot.
The Arthur Holmes Medal is intended for scientists with exceptional international standing in solid Earth geosciences, in the broadest possible sense, on the basis of their scientific achievement. It cannot dispute it that Vincent Cortilot qualifies on the basis of this lofty international standing. However, the compelling reason that he deserves the Holmes Medal is because he has offered highly original solutions to fundamental, long-standing geoscience problems. Much of his early research concerns the discovery with Jean-Louis Lemuel of geomagnetic impulse from the core, which had sharp accelerations in secular variation. A second area in which he has made an enduring mark is the application of paleomagnetism to tectonic problems. First, in elucidating the spreading history of the Afar Gulf of Aden, with the model of propagating rift as a cause of continental breakup. Then in quantifying the history of India's collision with Asia, and still later in sharpening our understanding of the amalgamation of the North and South China blocks. In this category, he published also several famous synthesis papers with Jean Bess on apparent polar wander curves for the major continents, true polar wander on the hotspot reference frame. The area for which Vincent Cortilot is probably most widely recognized is his tireless investigation and steadfast championing of the hypothesis linking major mass extensions on large fluid basalt eruptions. He certainly has been the most rational, creative, eloquent, and effective proponent of this view. His demonstration that massive fluid basalt eruptions are rapid and coincide with mass extension events has played a major role in the general acceptance of the importance of endogenic processes as driving forces for biosphere change. What is striking about this list, apart from its breadth and scope, is that all of these ideas were highly controversial at first, and most remain so. However, each of these ideas has motivated a whole body of new research, and many are now mainstream concepts in the geosciences. This is also the case of the most recent work, to which Vincent has devoted much attention during this past decade, and which actually has been initiated almost 30 years ago. With Jean-Louis Lemuel, he has renewed his former interest for geomagnetic observations by studying perturbation of the geomagnetic field linked to the variations of solar activity over the past century. This is a fascinating and original approach to document the sun-related climatic variations of the planet for this period. Vincent brings an enormous energy to science. He is charismatic and has trained and influenced many scientists over the past 30 years. In 1999, he published a book entitled Catastrophe in Earth History, The Science of Mass Extension. Besides his career of researcher, he has had high administrative responsibility in France, including special advisor of the Minister of Education, Research and Technology, and later director of research. More recently, he was a director of the IPG Paris. We can see distinct parallels between the careers of Arthur Holmes and Vincent Courtillot. Like Arthur Holmes, Vincent Courtillot is a brilliant and integrative thinker whose work has had great influence across the earth sciences. We tend to forget how radical Holmes' proposals of whole mantle convection on an ancient older than 4 billion years Earth were in this time. Let's make the prediction that in future years, geoscientists will come to regard many of Vincent Courtillot's contributions the same way.
Ladies and gentlemen, Vincent Courtillot is presented the EGU Arthur Holmes Medal 2012 and EGU Honorary Membership.
Dear friends and colleagues, I feel honored and humbled by the awarding of the Holmes Medal. I have no illusion as to the immensity of Holmes' scientific contributions compared to mine, but in any case, it feels good. I would like to thank EGU. I would thank all those who supported my nomination and were instrumental in my getting this great honor. And of course, I would like to thank foremost Jean-Pierre Vallet for his generous citation. But what else would you expect from such a close friend and admired colleague? I would like to dedicate the Holmes Medal to my wife, Michelle, who is here, for her love, her patience, her support, and the intellectual stimulation that she has provided me in many areas that reach well over more than just the earth sciences. In the medal lecture I had the opportunity to deliver at lunchtime for those who were not too hungry a few hours ago in this room, I was fortunate to be able to deliver a number of messages. I'm just going to briefly summarize a few. One, how conscious I am of the luck I had to be, like people of my generation, a student of the earth sciences at the time of a scientific revolution. The young people have a fabulous field ahead of them. There are so many great problems to solve, yet having been there when what you were told by your professor was wrong, and what you were learning from young scientists was right, was pretty exciting for any student. The second, as has been alluded to by Jean-Pierre, is that I have come to feel even more strongly in recent times, and everyone here who knows what I'm working on will understand. I've been learning the importance of debate, of diversity in thought, of tolerance, and I believe more than ever that settled science is no more frontier research, and frontier research is the exciting research. I would urge all of you who have not yet done so to read an op-ed by Daniel Sarewitz in Nature last October entitled Let's Agree to Disagree, where I wouldn't change a word and which I would be happy to co-sign. Let's agree to disagree. I think this is really important. When President Dingwell closed my lecture this morning, he jokingly said, well, pay attention, tolerance can be lack of faith. And he could have jokingly added, faith is not science. My gratitude goes to EGU, and through EGU to one of its, well, to its two parent societies, of course, EGS and EUG, but particularly to EUG. Most people here, or the older people here, will know that I'm extremely attached to the launching and the early development of EUG. I was the first treasurer of EUG, and the current treasurer, Roland Chiche, thinks I was the worst by far ever. So, I mean, the way I balanced or didn't balance my accounts was unspeakable. But anyway, I eventually became president of EUG, and with my friend Berger, we were sort of the grandparents of the merger in 2002, 2003 of EUG with EGS. And you will understand that I feel particularly moved to see the spirit of EUG being carried on by EGU. And once again, I want to thank you all for the award.
Ladies and gentlemen, Dennis Didier Rossau, Henk A. Dijkstra, and Bernard Barnier are kindly delivering the citation for Michael Gill.
Good evening. Michael Gill is a world leader in the discipline of theoretical climate dynamics. He has applied systematically the ideas on method from nonlinear dynamics, in particular bifurcation theory and the ergodic theory of dynamical systems, to planetary scale atmospheric and oceanic flows. He has used the successive bifurcation approach as presented in his 87 book with Steve Childress and in many of his 275 research and review papers, to proceed from the analysis of simple flows with high temporal regularity and spatial symmetry to the analysis of observed flows with their complex behavior in space and time. His studies of climate variabilities on timescales ranging from intraseasonal to millennial have used a full hierarchy of models, from the simplest toy models through intermediate complexity ones with hundreds of variables, and onto atmospheric, oceanic, and coupled general circulation models. Michael Gill's modeling and theoretical studies have been complemented by careful and innovative observational studies on each of the timescale of interest. Over the past 3 decades, he has applied sequential estimation theory, Kalman filtering, to the model assimilation of satellite data in meteorology, oceanography, and space physics, and most recently to macroeconomics. Some of his former 70 graduate and postdoctoral students are now successfully applying this approach to the assimilation of satellite data from NASA and ESA missions, which will revolutionize our knowledge of Earth's climate. Michael Gill's other research achievements include a theory of forced paleoclimate oscillations that predicted the 6 to 7 kiloyears periodicity of Heinrich events, 5 years before their discovery from observations. A theory of multiple weather regimes that connects them with intraseasonal oscillations in the extratropics, and a theory of the interannual variability of the wind-driven double-gyre ocean circulation that has generated a rapidly growing literature over the past few years. Michael Gill has also led in the development of novel time series analysis tools, for example, the singular spectrum analysis, tools that provide a close connection between temporal regularities in the geophysical system on the one hand, and its dynamical explanation and prediction on the other. Michael Gill's research, teaching, and public service activities extend over 4 continents, but have been particularly evident in Europe. He has organized summer and winter school in France, Hungary, Italy, and Romania, and his former students and collaborators have included many European nationals, as well as Chinese, Japanese, and Korean scholars. Among the many awards and honors that Michael Gill has received, of special interest to mention are fellowship of both the American Meteorological Society and the American Geophysical Union, membership of the Academia Europaea, and Austrian and Hungarian Academy of Science, and the award of the Richardson Medal of the EGU Division on nonlinear processes in geoscience. So it is most appropriate and timely, therefore, that Michael Gill be awarded in 2012 the Alfred Wegener Medal and honorary membership in EGU.
Ladies and gentlemen, Michael Gill is presented the EGU Alfred Wegener Medal 2012 and EGU honorary membership.
Ladies and gentlemen, friends, I'm deeply humbled and no need to say greatly honored to receive this, one of the highest honors of this union. Of the few things that I can say on this occasion is that I'm particularly pleased that this is an all-encompassing union of geosciences, born of the union of two societies, the European Geophysics Society and the European Union of Geosciences. And I think that what our science in general needs is a lot of dialogue and the broadest view of the topics possible. I'm deeply grateful to the three nominators, Denis Didier Rousseau, Henk Dijkstra, who couldn't be here, and Bernard Barnier. Denis has been a wonderful colleague and friend, and both Henk and Bernard are great to have been appreciated by. I also want to thank all the supporters who wrote the letters. We all need friends, and it's wonderful to have such good friends that will support you at such great times. I have been formally forbidden by my wife, Michelle, to say anything about her lest she won't be here. And so all I want to say is that she is here. She has been many times that have been a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to many more times of being in wonderful places like Vienna and Palais Down-Kinski, where we'll finally get after all this is through. I would like to really thank my students, postdocs, and all the other colleagues from whom I have learned. The books, whatever number of papers, couldn't have been written, and I wouldn't know the little that I do know about various areas of the geosciences without those people. I would like to thank the three institutions with whom my sort of adult career has been most closely linked. 10 years at the Courant Institute of Mathematical Sciences in New York, where I got my degree, and then I joined the faculty. The two faculties at UCLA, the Institute of Geophysics, Planetary Physics, and the Department of Atmospheric and Oceanic Sciences, which I both led, and finally the École Normale Supérieure, where I wouldn't be if there weren't for that person that I'm not supposed to mention anymore. It's great to have great colleagues. It's sometimes even good to have not so good colleagues, because anything that doesn't kill you makes you stronger. I really want to say a few words about interdisciplinarity. I've been trained in engineering and mathematics. I sometimes tell my students that I teach them stuff that I never learned. Well, they maybe tell behind my back that it shows. When young people come to me to ask how they should lead their careers, you know, the typical advice is, it's more than once that I've been sort of asked this question. Young people typically get the advice, you know, concentrate on something, publish, or you'll perish. We all know that. And some are obviously the people who come to talk to me about this are people who by natural inclination feel that they would like to do more than one thing. And I tell them, you know, we're all doing this because we think it's fun. It's not because we're being paid so well, although being paid by society to do what you like to do is wonderful. So, you know, do what you really like. It will all work out in the end. So I feel this is working out really better than I ever thought it would. And again, I want to thank everybody here and those who couldn't be here and whom I'm having in my mind. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Cynthia Bertacci-Uvo is kindly delivering the citation for Robin T. Clark.
Good evening. Professor Robin Clark has made visionary contributions to the science of hydrology and the international relevance. His personal hydraulic research has been a major force in initiating today's method of rainfall runoff processes analysis, a major force in bringing statistical methods into the analysis of extreme hydrological events, and has been a major force in understanding and managing hydrologic challenges in Brazil. Professor Clark is originally British, but the exuberance of Brazilian nature and the challenge of the Brazilian hydrology brought him to Brazil in 1988. Well, the exuberance of his Brazilian wife also, I must say. He has researched on the changes in the Brazilian hydrologic regimes that have occurred as a result of climate and land use changes, from indigenous forests to intense agriculture. His research has also brought important insights to predicting future flows into the Brazilian hydropower reservoirs up to 3 months in advance. This new vision included the wide use of climate signal into the hydrological forecast. And he continues his visionary research in the study of the impacts of climate change on the future Brazilian hydroelectricity production. Most important study considering that 90% of the electricity production in Brazil comes from hydropower. And many new hydropower stations have been under planning and under construction in the Amazon basin. And I met Robin years ago when one of these common ways that researchers meet nowadays, that is looking for research money or support money for a research cooperation. In that case, it was a research cooperation between Sweden and Brazil. Our project was granted, and more than a fantastic co-worker, I got a wonderful friend, and I'm really happy and honored to be here today and see Robin awarded with this most deserved Alexander von Humboldt Medal.
Ladies and gentlemen, Robin T. Clark is presented the EGU Alexander von Humboldt Medal 2012.
Mr. President-elect Cynthia, colleagues and ex-colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. It's a very great honor for me to be awarded the Union's Alexander von Humboldt Medal, and I pay the highest tribute to my colleague and friend, Professor Cynthia Uvo of the University of Lund, Sweden, both for her generous citation and for preparing the nomination. She has been a splendid collaborator over a number of years, and I am deeply grateful to her for all her efforts on my behalf. I'm especially proud that it was Cynthia who prepared the nomination, because she is, as far as I'm aware, unique amongst the world's leading climatologists. After leaving university and before taking up climatology as a career, she qualified as a driver of heavy goods trucks and drove enormous lorries over most of Brazil's highways. If you want to know what kind of knot is needed to strap down a tarpaulin on a 25-meter trailer, Cynthia is a woman who can tell you. So she's not just an outstanding scientist, but she's also an outstanding person. I'm also much indebted to 4 distinguished professors, Dimitris Koutsoyanis, Enda O'Connell, Keith Bevan, and Jim Shuttleworth, who added their illustrious support to the nomination. All of them have achieved worldwide distinction in their different fields, and their support gives me much honor. I also owe a great debt of gratitude to Dr. James Mcculloch, formerly director of the Institute of Hydrology at Wallingford in England. He has been a long-standing friend of the European Geosciences Union, and I shall be saying more about him in my medal address on Friday. My thanks must also go to my many colleagues at the Instituto de Pesquisas Hidráulicas in Porto Alegre, Brazil. Working with them over many years has given me great pleasure, and I have learned a great deal. Without their support and collaboration, I should not be here today. I also give my sincere thanks to Dr. Alberto Montanari for his help and advice, and congratulate him on his part in the superb organization of such a complex event as this. I thank him, too, for taking a lead in discussing the future direction of our science of hydrology. Finally, there's my wife, Nara. Well, she's not too bad at all either. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Manuel Grande and Athena Kustinis are kindly delivering the citation for Angioletta Corradini, who is posthumously awarded with the Jean-Dominique Cassini Medal 2012.
It's with great pride and also with great sadness that we read the citation for Angioletta Corradini. Angioletta performed outstanding work in many fields of planetary sciences using both observational and theoretical approaches. She contributed deeply over a broad range of planetary topics, including analysis of lunar samples, the study of the geology of the terrestrial planetary surfaces, remote sensing studies of terrestrial volcanoes using infrared observations, investigation of the thermal evolution of planets and satellites, study of the thermal differentiation of cometary nuclei and of centaurs and Kuiper belt objects more recently, models of primitive solar nebula and planetary subnuclei for studying planetary formation, and she provided scientific leadership in many of those areas. From the beginning of her career, Angioletta was an active co-investigator or principal investigator in many spaceborne experiments. She became one of the major players in Europe, developing innovative infrared space instrumentation for a wide range of planetary exploration. She was a team member of the PFS Planetary Fourier Spectrometer and the Omega Imaging Spectrometer on the ill-fated Mars 96 Russian mission. She was PI of the TIMS AIS Airborne Survey of Italian Volcanoes. She was PI of the Visible and Infrared Thermal Imaging Spectrometer, VIRTIS, on the Rosetta mission, and of VIR, the Visual and Infrared Imaging Spectrometer for Dawn, which is currently returning superb data from the asteroids of Ceres and Vesta. And she was to be PI on JRAM, on the NASA Juno mission to Jupiter, and MARMES on ExoMars for ESA. She was also, very significantly, a co-investigator on the VIMS, Visual and Infrared Mapping Spectrometer on Cassini, mission to Saturn, with responsibility for the Italian subsystems, and a co-I on the VIRTIS instrument on Venus Express. So she played a leading role in the definition of the Italian contribution to a wide range of missions, and particularly also the exobiology Pasteur payload for the planned ExoMars ESA mission. In the course of all that, she published more than 200 scientific publications and 3 books. She was an active member of a number of scientific organizations and committees and received a number of medals, not least the Bates Medal of the EGU. She became director of INAF, the Instituto di Fisica dello Spazio Interplanetario dell'Istituto Nazionale di Astrofisica in Rome. In short, she was a brilliant scientist who simultaneously led a team of scientists and engineers responsible for a very focused program, leading a major research institute covering both planetary sciences and astrophysics, and at the same time carrying on her own personal theoretical studies, establishing scientific leadership in every way, and providing an outstanding role model for many of the next generation. And she sought out the best talent for her group and her institute and then deployed that talent into the leaders of that next generation. Despite her busy schedule, she always went out of her way to assist her colleagues, always with wisdom and grace, I think, very much gaining the respect of all with whom she worked. And a conversation with Angeletta was always a pleasure. You always came away from talking to Angeletta feeling good about the world. She's been described as a 21st century Cassini, and it was thus most deserving that she was the unanimous nomination of the Cassini Committee for this award. Sadly, she passed away shortly after.
Thank you, Manuel, and ladies and gentlemen. Just to say that as a friend, a colleague, and as the current president of the Division for Planetary Sciences of the EGU, I am proud to have contributed to the nomination of Angeletta, and I'm also very grateful to EGU for providing us with the opportunity to give her this award even posthumously, and in particular to Alberto Montanari, who helped a lot in putting this together. So we're very, very proud and sad, as Manuel said, to have the opportunity to be nominating Angeletta Corradini for her important work in a wide range of planetary sciences themes and the solar system formation, and her leading role in the development of space infrared instrumentation for planetary exploration. She has left a long heritage, and on Thursday, instead of her lecture in the same room, we will have a commemorative session during which her friends and colleagues, Jonathan Lunin and Jean-Pierre Bibring, will be delivering talks. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Angeletta Corradini is posthumously presented the EGU Jean-Dominique Cassini Medal 2012 and honorary membership. The award is received by Marcello Corradini.
dear colleagues, dear friends, as you may imagine, I would love to be among you and applauding Angeletta here in the podium. Very unfortunately, this is not possible, and she's just in our hearts and in our thoughts. I think that no prize would be more appropriate for my sister. Her multidisciplinary scientific profile, her scientific eclectism are in fact very close to those of Jean-Dominique Cassini. Angeletta took her first steps in the development of space hardware in the framework of the Cassini mission that we all consider the mother of all modern planetary missions. A major part of Angeletta's career is connected to Cassini, of the Cassini family, the Cassini mission. First participation to the development of infrared spectrometer, first verifications in situ of her theories on the formation and evolution of planetary systems, first needs to fusioning data sets producing by a large suite of instruments operated at different wavelengths. Even in this theoretical field, she was a pioneer. In this very moment, as we heard, Angeletta's instruments are flying in every corner of the solar system, from the giant planets to the comets to the asteroids to the inner planets. These instruments represent the best legacy of the competence, enthusiasm, determination, and scientific acumen of a great scientist. Thank you very much from the depth of my heart.
Ladies and gentlemen, the EGU President, Don Dingwell, is kindly closing the EGU 2012 Medal and Award Ceremony.
Ladies and gentlemen, we've come full circle from those at the beginning of their career to those at the end. They're all bound together with a certain common characteristic. Maybe we can't describe it perfectly, but I think we all feel it. And I want you to join us now to continue to celebrate the achievements of these and of our discipline. Thank you very much.